Our state has some incredible problems. My name is Lynn, Hinderacker. I'm here to talk about that with you and talk about the trends that have shaped this state and dragged us in one direction or another. We're not really we're not realizing the dream we had way back in the early 2000s or even around 2008 or 9 or 10. My name is Lynn Hinderacker. Welcome to WowBiz, Nebraska. We're going to get it on right now. Welcome to WowBiz, Nebraska. I'm Lynn Hinderacker, and I'm going to give you the bad news, and I'm going to give you some good news right here. Stick with me. We've got a great show in front of you, a lot of different ideas and concepts that you can use right now in your business to improve not just incrementally, but exponentially. So think about that, how much improvement is actually possible. What are the components and what's like the big picture? You know, what should we keep thinking about as we're trying to roll out new products, bring in new leaders, try to expand into new operations, new markets, and that's really key. Revealing, we're uncovering markets that you haven't even looked at, that are waiting for you to tap into them. You're going to have to do some innovation, but you know, here in Nebraska, we are on a fast run. People are going, you know, I think we're capable of innovating. We can roll it out. We can test a little bit. That's what should be going on in your operation right now. And this show can help you get there. Okay, let's talk about the quote bad things. There's 2 or 3 trends that we have to be aware of. They're not directly going to impact your business tomorrow, but things are changing, not just in Nebraska. But the first one was published recently in the New York Times. Actually, it was just last year. It's called this is the big, long article, The Life and Death of American Cities. Think about that. That's an incredible headline. The whole story basically talks about one gentleman who's a great developer and investor, and he loved New York, and this comes out of the New York area. And as you may know, the occupancy, particularly in this city, is up to like 30 or 40%. That's the occupancy. So everything else is just empty offices and workers working at home. And many people feel like that's okay. Many people feel like it's not okay. As a result, of course, we have the hybrid formula, the hybrid model. But what's really happening there, and I'm going to divert just a second, is that we're rethinking what is work, right? We're going to try to redesign. I don't want to use the word decorate. That's too superficial. But redesign what offices are like, see, so that people go, you know, I'm more comfortable going to the office. I like doing that. I can be by myself if I need to, but I also can interact with the rest of the team. So we're talking a lot about that kind of thing, but a very interesting quote related to this. And I'm going to go on to the next quote unquote bad thing, but it may actually be a good thing. But here, if you'll stick with me, I'm going to read this little quote here about work. And this is the most profound thing perhaps in this entire show, maybe the second most profound, but listen to me right now. Here we go. The experience of work is more meaningful when we broaden the circle of influence and when we are connected to who we are, both at work and in life. Some pretty heavy stuff. We all see the reward from opening the doors and embracing the outside world. We see the value of that, is what I think they're saying here. In the decades to come, I hope to look back on this moment, this pivotal moment in our economy and so on, as the moment the workplace once again became irresistible. When the workplace becomes irresistible. Think about that. And think about that as you try to get your people working, motivated, excited about being part of your vision, your core brand, the things you stand for. It's a very exciting time for us, and you can really grab onto it. I'm talking now about a design adjustment, and I'll have just one more quick afterthought here. It says, what makes this adjustment that we're talking about, redesigning the office, rethinking what work really is, what makes it successful is the anticipation of the unexpected. Think about this. You know, when you walk into an area, you're not quite sure what's going to happen. It's fun, it's cool. It makes the whole experience of working kind of interesting. There's a lot of synchronicity and spontaneity, and it's colorful. Anyway, he says, seeing the community step inside our doors Just think of that. When somebody comes over to the office and so on, do you say to yourself, wow, there's a representative of the community coming into our offices. This is a wonderful thing. That's what he says. And develop new connections that you wouldn't have. New connections. Surprise, disruption, and renewed energy. Isn't that cool? Isn't that an incredible theme to go into an office and say, hey, this is what this office is going to be, and we're going to make it this way, and we're going to get people to come into the office. One more time, just think about these words. Renewal, visible energy, surprise, disruption, and once again, renewed energy. Now, I didn't come here tonight to read from a newspaper to you. I apologize for that, but it's such a pivotal moment. And it's really, that is high-level thinking, and that's what we like to do here at WowBiz, Nebraska. Now, I opened the show, said there's some bad things going on. I'm going to talk to you about something that is, quote, bad, but it could really be good, all right? Now, there's a lot of people that are talking about this. This is a long article about the fact that workforce, laborers, young folks that come out of college or out of school, they're working for a factory, not making a lot of money, really can't afford even to rent a house. And there's a lot of them, right? There's a lot of them, and they obviously are concerned. But we have this tiny home revolution. Only they don't call it tiny homes anymore. They call them cottages, which is a great word. And but the title of the article is The Shrinking of the American Home. The shrinking. This is going to take place across our entire country, across our state, because people really can't, given the mortgages and the interest rate and so on, they really can't afford, a 2,000 square foot home or whatever it is. The shrinking, think about it now, the shrinking of the American home. And obviously that involves zoning and so on. It's about 500 square feet or less is what we're really talking about. And I think we're going to see a lot of them going into the future. All right. So, those are the two things that are kind of not good. Here's a third thing that's not so great, all right? But everybody wants to know about this, and everybody's jaw drops when I share this statistic. So here we go. We all want people to go to our website, and we work on it, and we try to add things, and so on and so forth. What do you think the average attention span is when people go to a website? How much time do they spend on your homepage? Would you guess? Would you guess? This is not great news, all right? The average time is 8 seconds. So they're not going to absorb a whole lot of stuff off your website in 8 seconds, but they're going to, if they were here, they'd say, well, that's enough. I got to know, I got a feel for the company. In fact, if you take 17% of all the people that go to your website and go to the homepage and so on, 17% of them are there for 4 seconds or less. And they think that's a legitimate visit, by the way. They think they know your name and your brand and what you do and so on. Now, I'm going to lay something on you, and I hope you can remember this, because this is big, and I'm going to share other big ideas yet tonight. But if you don't like those numbers and these kind of scare you, as most people would say, we put all that effort into this website, 4 seconds, 8 seconds, I don't know. What do we do? And here's the answer to that question, okay? The problem that you solve. Just put away all the grandiose, we're great at this, thanks for calling, we're the best, da-da-da-da-da, all these very positive kind of, you've chosen the right company, here we are. All that. We all do that. That's how standard website developers proceed. And the boss always says, well, put in that we're the greatest, blah, blah, blah. Get that up there, right? But the key is, actually, based upon what we've shared here, the key is they can't figure out exactly what it is that you do. I know this is hard to believe, but this is the truth. So what you want to do is you want to pull down all the grandiose statements, and we're great, and call us, and all that stuff. Pull it down to maybe the middle of the homepage, or at least down a ways. So the first thing they see is your logo, right? And the problems that you solve. Now you can put it in just plain text, bullet, bullet, bullet. We do this, we do that. You don't have to have a problem with this or that. We can do that. That's one way to hang it out. But you might want to get somebody creative and say, how can we how can we share with people the problem that we solve and do it in some kind of a clever way? Maybe it's funny, colorful, maybe there's some movement, whatever it is, but they have to find out within seconds, maybe 4 seconds, exactly what problems you solve. Think about this and put the logo up there with it, but get everything else down on your homepage. Okay, there we go. Now we've gotten through the negative stuff, and just about all of it turns into a positive. All right, I'm going to share with you one more thing here real quick. When people talk to me, they say, and this is the fact, they say, what is the key thing that we have to remember? And I'm going to give you 3 words, and then we're going to get to the promotional portion of our show, and the sponsor will say, but I'm going to share this with you right now. 3 words, vision, fusion, and passion. We're going to come back to this after the break and tell you why these 3 words, they're like the tripod, they're like the thing that holds up a stool or a chair. 3 key concepts, and so I just want you to know we're going to talk about this yet again. But never mind, at this particular moment, vision, fusion, and passion are important. You know, this show is brought to you by the Nebraska, and that's the Nebraska Roundtable. This is an exciting organization. You may want to consider joining the organization. It meets once a month. It's a half-day event, and you work with peers. You work with other people here in this community, all of them eager to hear how you can help them and how they can help you fundamentally. And of course, we bring in speakers. They talk about trends and all kinds of interesting topics that are contemporary, relevant, obviously online activities as well. Things like that are something that are constantly difficult, and people are wondering, can we really grow our company in this particular economy? Are people too uptight? Are they not spending like they used to, and so on? It's a big topic, and all your peers, I'm talking about business owners now, will have something to say about that. You may end up sitting in a circle with all of them around you in some kind of a circle, and each of them is suggesting, throwing out their very best ideas for you and growth. So pretty cool environment. And we just want to promise you that if you get involved, and you do have to apply, of course, to be a member of Nebraska Roundtable. It's exciting, it's fun, and it's monthly, and we hope to hear from you on the website. That's nebraska.com. All right. Thanks again. I look forward to having conversations with people around the city and around the state of Nebraska about joining and being part of the Roundtable experience. It's high impact, and it simply can't be beat in terms of confidence and an upbeat attitude. All right, I'm done talking about that. I'm going to share something with you that I think is so important, so stirring, that whether we're talking about this young workforce, 45% of them, by the way, just think about this now, 45% of them are depressed. 45% of Gen Z and to some extent Gen Y are depressed about their work and what they're doing and how they're doing and so on. And a lot of it, if you speak to them personally, like an HR person would, they don't know who they are. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing with their life. They're drifting, etc. So I'm going to talk about the 10 or 11, maybe even the 12 types, not of personalities, but it's similar to that, 12 types of intelligence. You know, when we're very young, 3, 4, 5 years of age, then we begin to get a sense of who we are. And then if something happens sometimes that reinforces either things are going really great and I want to be that person and I love that, I'm going to become that person. Or vice versa, things are really bad, I'm going to push that away from me. I don't want to have anything to do with all of that. Now that's what's going through young children, just barely in elementary school. Then they come out on the other end and they're still drifting. Now I'm going to talk about this intelligence, and we're going to start with this number one precept, this number one thing, and that is everyone is good at something. Now, you can't argue with that, but to be honest with you, there's a lot of folks, young and old, that would say, you know, I'm just unclear at what I'm good at. We are all intelligent. We are all intelligent in some way. And there's 10 or 11 ways to be intelligent. Let's talk about them because they will help you shape your idea of who am I, and by the way, who should we hire and who should I work with? All right, number one, factual intelligence. You ever talk about somebody who kind of knows it all? He always has the statistics on his fingertips, and he seems to know a lot about life. He spends, or she spends, a lot of time reading books and on the web. They have factual intelligence, and that's helpful. That's number one. Number two, analytic intelligence. Now, that's different. These are people who are great at reasoning. A plus B equals C, and so on. They're the people that are, they conceptualize an end result. Those are analytic. Maybe that's you. Then there's another group of people. We know about CPAs and people like that. They have numerate. Numerate is the word, numerate. And they are at ease with numbers. They're familiar with numbers. They're at their best when they're working with numbers. All right? That has numerate intelligence. Now, there are people that have linguistic intelligence, right? They love words. They like to trip words, put words together, and that's their type of intelligence. Some of them become writers, speakers, I don't know. Number five, spatial intelligence. It's very interesting. These are people who see patterns, and they could be artists, they could be entrepreneurs who see a business model or a big opportunity. I'd love to talk to you about that. And so they're system analysts. So they don't have to necessarily be creative types. They could be system analysts, and they see how things come together. Process, big deal. Then there are people that have intuitive intelligence. These people see what is not obvious. That's a cool thing, you know. And there's always somebody on the team that just has a gut feeling. I like where this is going. It seems right. We should go in this direction. And a lot of people are like, I don't know what he's talking about, but he sounds like he knows what he's doing. Now we move into number 7. This is emotional intelligence. Now this is very popular. People talk about it. This may be the most popular thing to discuss. It's all about self-awareness, self-control. This is maybe, again, the most important type of intelligence. You see it in leaders all the time, emotional intelligence. Then there is practical intelligence, all right? You know, Larry, get her done, you know, that whole thing, and I'm sure you're familiar with that, comes out of Nebraska. But that's what this is all about, is let's not talk anymore, just get it done, get through the whole thing, whatever it is, just make it happen, right? Very practical, common sense. Now we get to number 9, interpersonal intelligence. This is also a person that gets things done, but they get them done through other people, right? Instead of going out there and handling it yourself, you pull people in and say, I need this from you, and let's work together. Huh? Interpersonal intelligence. By the way, that's crucial. That's also crucial, like leadership. Now, I'm going to tell you this. You're going to love this. Musical intelligence. Really, musical intelligence is very interesting. It's unrelated to age. Could be 5 years old, could be 75. Doesn't really matter. And it's particularly important, though, to youth. When you hear people singing, it kind of gets inside of you. It'll be there forever. It'll be in your psyche forever. Now, I'm going to tell you a personal story along this line. I'll be very, very careful. When I was a young man, I lived on the farm. My father was not only just a farmer, but he was a bass in a gospel quartet. And he sang for 25 years around the state of Iowa. And he loved doing it, and it was his way to, express his faith in God, et cetera, et cetera. But he was very good, and he liked to sing. Now, when we were in the cab together, when we were just driving around the farm or whatever we're doing, and I'm sitting there, I'm 8, 10 years of age, and my father would burst out, not necessarily in hymns, by the way, but he would burst out and start singing, right? Some more kind of silly songs. He even yodeled, if you can believe that. So it was a form of entertainment and just keep doing something interesting. Now, I have to tell you, here I am, of course, many years later. I have young children, and I take them for a ride. I'll take them to a park, whatever, and it's very common, and they know it, and they love it, and they laugh. And I also burst out singing. I make up silly songs, ridiculous songs, but they love it, all right? And I think to myself, where did this come from? Why am I doing this, you know? But it's really because of what they call musical intelligence. Anyway, now we get into it now. Number 11, creative intelligence. Very interesting. Time magazine said several years ago, they said, we have a problem in America, begins in school. We don't teach children to be creative. We don't honor and respect them. Our kids come out of school. They're good at passing tests. They get pretty good grades. But when they're in the business office and they're in the office and somebody says, hey, can you think of some good name for this new product? Or you guys get together and come up with something that we can sell over here. They go, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never practiced coming up with anything or thinking of any type of a way to innovate. All right? So the key with creative intelligence, that's what I'm talking about, is to generate, develop, and evaluate and create original ideas. Original ideas. Maybe this show, I don't know. But it requires divergent thinking, ideas from every different direction. If I had more time, I think I could give you some examples. Now I'm going to show you a little bit about creative intelligence. This is a true story. I was in a group with a bunch of business people, and the facilitator said, draw a picture of yourself. She handed all these big posters, and she said, just draw a picture of yourself. I want to see that. Put some tape up on the wall and go ahead and draw a picture. Let us see how you see yourself. And I'm going to hold up a yellow piece of paper. Without exception, every one of them created something like this. I want to call it a stick man, for lack of a better word. We've all done this before. It's very common. And this is what they did on about a 4-foot piece of paper. The girls put longer hair, of course, on the character. But this is how they saw themselves. It's very interesting that they would see themselves in this very stripped down, symbolic way that they probably learned how to do when they were in 2nd grade. So the big thing with the facilitator at that time, she was talking about the left brain of a human being and the right brain, and how business people over-rely on the left half of the brain, the left hemisphere, so to speak, where we kind of process things. It's real linear, it's real A plus B equals C, rational, logical, etc. Then she said, all right, thank you, everybody. I love it. Thanks for doing that. And it took about 10 minutes. Everybody did that. And she said, now I want Lynn to step up here, come up to the board, the big whiteboard, and let's see what a right brain person would do when he's she's describing themselves. Okay? And I'm going to show you roughly, this is what I put on the whiteboard at the time. Yet another yellow piece of paper here. Very different, of course, from what I just showed you. There were like 12 or 13 people in the room. They all did the stick man thing. And I created this image. And she explained, I didn't say one word. She said, the deal with Lynn and all right-brained people. All right-brained people, and obviously we want to have right-brained people in the office to do certain things. They're perfect for certain things. And she said, Lynn, what's going on here? I said, well, I have ideas. Some of them are endless ideas. Some of them are overlapping. The ideas overlap, and then they add up, and then they drift over here, and then they connect with that, and that all makes sense. I'm coming up with new ideas right here and here and here. So I thought that was a reasonably good representation of a right brain, right hemisphere worker, executive. And the rest of the room was very interesting to them. They said, well, we had never thought about that. So as we wrap up here today, I want to thank you so much for watching us here on WowBiz Nebraska, and think about yourself in the form of intelligence. You have several types of intelligence. But again, I want to come back to this incredible poster, and I'll tell you something real quick as I hold it up. 1 minute to go, vision, fusion, and passion, right? Look at the last 3 letters of all those words. Ion, right? Very interesting. You can build a company around these 3 words, and the last 3 letters, ion, that represents negative ions. Negative ions are floating around right now, right here in the studio, in your office, etc. They're looking for a positive ion. That's why they're floating around so fast. They're trying to get together, join up, collaborate with a positive ion. A lot of truth there. Thanks so much for watching us here on WowBiz Nebraska. A whole lot of ideas. I hope you grasp some of them. The forms of intelligence are critical, and of course the 3 key words that you can build your company, grow right here during this economy. I'm Lynn Hinderacker from Nebraska. Thank you so much for watching.